Welcome back, fellow engineers. This video was actually quite fun to make. I was strolling through my local Hobby Lobby store a couple weeks ago with the intent of making a completely different video. And while I was getting the materials for that project, so I moseyed over to the model section and the model rocket section. And I had an idea. I knew it probably wasn't going to work. And as you probably saw in the intro, it didn't quite work out. Also, I would like to apologize for the video being upside down. I thought I was holding my phone correctly, but as you can see, I was holding it upside down. So after building the rocket, I needed my old rocket model set up. So when I pulled that old toy ammo box out and opened it up, I realized that I had some old motor rockets that I have estimated to be about 25 years old. So on this video that you're watching now is me testing one of those rockets to see, after 2.5 decades, if it would still fire. All right, 25-year-old motor rocket. Man, still works. All right, plastic P51 model. 3, 2, 1. That's what I was expecting right there. That was more likely. Balsa wood glider. 3, 2, 1. Yep. In the clip with the P-51, those with a basic physics understanding will not be surprised on how the model reacted, because unlike the actual P-51, this model may be to scale, but not to the weight distribution. The other issue with launching the model rocket was not just the weight distribution, but the center of gravity and the placement of the rocket model engine. When I mounted the motor rocket, all I did was literally sand a little bit piece off to rough it out, then glued the solid motor rocket. But it was slightly at an angle, as we saw in the video. Not only did it make it go, flip around, because the center of gravity was off-centered, with the placement of the solid rocket motor, it was not perfectly aligned along the spine of the model. The front end was slightly canted towards the underside of the right wing, with the exhaust port slightly off-centered on the left side of the fuselage. When it was launched, the shape of the wings are very similar to actual wings of this aircraft. So it did create the lift, but again, the center of gravity was a little bit farther back, which, when it did, was made yard to the right from the rocket motor, center of gravity being towards the back, lift, with creating an additional lift under the wings, which made the model do loopy-doops, basically, as we saw in the video right up here. With the glider, I was able to mount the motor rocket a lot more squared to the spine of the glider, as you can see, because I went and cut a small notch for it to mount it. And it did roughly what I was expecting, almost. I was expecting it to maybe barrel roll a little bit or be off-centered, because I was not expecting to have mounted this rocket so squarely on the spine of the glider. One thing I was not expecting at all, as you can tell of the remains of the glider, but honestly I should have expected it, was the later charge port right here that was designed to eject the parachute and the parachute wadding for a rocket. So once it went straight up, so when it was launched, it flew straight, but with the lift was being much greater than I was expecting for a flat piece of wood. So it launched, created enough lift where it went inverted. Once it went inverted, it became straight up like a rocket. But with this weight tip right here, the center of gravity is on the very tip. And for those who have played KSB knows, when your center of gravity, again, plays a major part in aerodynamics. When the center of gravity is on the top of your model, it's going to flip. Now, it could have flipped to the front, but for our video, it flipped to the back. And so it was inverted when it lost its thrust, exhausted its fuel, basically, discharged its ejection charge, which ended up basically blowing up the glider. As you saw in the footage, pieces of the glider coming down. Now, unfortunately, the only two views we were able to get were from my phone and my wife's phone. We did have a third point of view from the family friends who let us go and use their land to do this test. Unfortunately, that video was not usable for many reasons. So if you have liked this video, please consider subscribing and liking this video. So until next time, have a good one.